everyone, welcome to yet another retro podcast, a show where we will cover a retro game from beginning to end, discussing the plot, items, characters, and so much more. I am your co-host, Alamaxia, along with my co-hosts,
Trithan,
Cycleman Hero,
and Huckle B. Slim.
This month, we're covering Kirby's Adventure, an adventure platformer released for the NES on March 23rd, 1993. And Kirby's Adventure is the second game in the Kirby franchise, right after Kirby's Dream Land on the Game Boy, and this really does set the stage for Kirby that we will know and love for years to come, because this is the Kirby where Kirby gets all of his copy abilities, which was entirely absent from the first one, and I think was one of the best changes Nintendo has ever made in any game franchise.
Mm-hmm.
it was so unique.
It blows my mind that this wasn't in the original Kirby. Like, what was the first game then? Like, just a generic platformer with a purple bubble?
Basically, yeah.
Kinda.
It was everything Kirby's Adventure was, except you didn't have doors to go through stages. It was just like you played a level, and at the end of that level was a boss. And you played a level, at the end of that level was a boss. The whole game takes like 20 minutes to beat.
Well, it's a Game Boy
Kirby
game.
can fly, he can puff out his air, and he can suck up enemies and shoot them out as stars. But that's really all he can do in the Game Boy one.
Oh, okay. So he still has like 80% of his identity as a character. They just gave you the ability to copy, which is a big part of Kirby. I'm not trying to gloss over that by any means. But
The thing Kirby's known for.
I literally was thinking like the first one was he just goes left and right and he jumps up and down. So that's way better than I thought.
Well, some of the backstory on Kirby's Adventure, like the plot backstory that we get in the little opening video, because that one thing I love with video games, especially retro video games, is a lot of them have like their little demo opening video. If you just like wait at the start menu, and it might give you some of the little plot backstory a lot of times. And with Kirby here, we learned that Dreamland is it's a planet that is filled with a bunch of little peaceful little creatures. They just like to eat, sleep, play. They're all these little puffballs of you just want to hug them and squish them. And what would happen is these creatures, they love to sleep and nap, and whenever they would wake up, the dreams that they had, they would like come true, and they would hope that their other friends' wishes would come true, because they had the dream spring, which basically gave forth all of the dreams and wishes. But one day Kirby didn't actually have a dream, and everyone's like, what happened? What happened? That must have happened to the dream spring. So they went out there and found that King Dedede broke the star rod, which was basically the piece of magic that created the dream spring, which allowed this whole planet of Dreamland to really thrive and prosper. But King Dedede broke this rod into 7 pieces and gave a piece to each of his minions, and that's really what just kind of gets us going into this game. The first stage we're going to do is called Vegetable Valley. And with this game, it really does have a very similar progression in each of the stages as we go through. So there's going to be a stage, and that stage is going to have an overall theme to it. Like Vegetable Valley here, it's all very, very green, very lush. You can think of it as like a very springtimey feel level. And it has multiple levels within this stage. So it's like, stage 1-1, 1-2, 1-3, and etc. And you progress through them. You go through it's usually I think like 4 or 5 levels per stage, and then you have a big boss at the end. Then you progress to the next one. But throughout these stages, this is where we just kind of start progressively going through and getting all of our copy abilities. Who wants to talk about some of the first ones we come across there?
Yeah, so the first couple abilities are just very basic. Like you shoot, I think it's fire out of your, not fire. It's like, what are those guys? The Dedes who have like the little rod. They'd shoot like the eye and it'd shoot like a beam out.
Yeah, the beam.
You get the beam power.
Yeah, beam power, which kind of
It's like
you
a
can either
beam whip.
You can kind of shoot in front of you, or you can have like an explosion of energy come out of you while you're like flying. Kind of just a basic ability. For me, I didn't use abilities a whole bunch. I found it more useful to just be Kirby.
Hold on. You found it useful to be Kirby by not being Kirby, is what I'm hearing.
No. So like, there was a couple abilities. Like I would use sword. I would use a couple of like the ones that were like more reach. But Kirby himself is pretty strong. Just as his suck like things and shoot it back out.
The stars that you shoot out are very, very powerful. It's they balance out the damage in this game. I feel like they do it pretty well. Some of your attacks, like Cutter, which you just kind of throw a blade out and it boomerangs back at you. It doesn't do a whole lot of damage because it can attack quickly, and I think it can even hit multiple times. But then you have the abilities like the sword, which are a little bit slower, but they hit a lot harder. Something like the hammer, that thing hits like a truck.
Yeah, my favorite was UFO by far. That one was great. But sword and cutter and beam were like, if I got any of those three, because UFO was kind of rare. If I got any of those three, I was like, I'm not switching. I'm staying this until either I die or like I get hit, and I'm like, all right, I just need to move on. Like, those were my bread and butter.
Oh yeah.
Anytime I see sword, I take sword.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, sword and I think suplex were my favorite.
Suplex was fun, even though I didn't have a real use for it. It was so much fun.
Oh, it's so stupid fun.
Just watch this cute little puffball.
I feel like a lot of the abilities in this game are just there for the fun. Like the sleep ability. Why is that even there aside to just troll the player? I love that ability.
I wonder
Just
if
that it's there.
Jigglypuff was influenced by that.
Oh, I'm sure.
Because like
Question.
it's
Very
kind of a
possible.
useless ability. You play in Smash, you fall asleep, it doesn't do anything. I guess you can rocket somebody off the screen, but if you miss, it's just you're vulnerable for like 5 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
So can I ask a quick question since we're on the topic of abilities? I may be misremembering this, but I'm pretty sure you could combine abilities. Yes?
Not in this.
Okay.
Not in this one.
You can't combine them, but what you can do is if you suck up 2 enemies at a time that would give you an ability, then it gives you an ability roulette, which allows you to get abilities like tornado on the first level or UFO on the first level.
Okay.
You just have to be lucky enough to get the one that you really want.
Because I swear, and again, I could be misremembering, there was times where I'd like suck up 2 guys and I wouldn't get, God, Jesus, I can't believe I just said that out loud. I wasn't getting the expected ability that I thought. And I was like, oh, maybe there's some sort of combination mechanic to this game, which I was like, kudos to Nintendo for having that in such an early game. But I guess
There are later iterations of Kirby. I think 64 might have been the first one you could combine.
Yeah, I think so.
But yeah, you suck up the 2, you get a random ability, and you can kind of, if you're good, you can pick the right one as it's
I thought it
cycling
was
through the little card.
3.
oh,
Because I thought 2, it just gave you the first one that
It's-
entered your mouth.
It's 2.
It's 2, yeah.
Is it 2? Okay.
It is 2.
I'm misremembering.
Did any of you guys? Okay, so like the after you beat a level, you have the little mini game where Kirby drops down on a platform. You have to hit A at the right time to fly up, and you can get extra lives. Did anybody get to the top?
oh, all the time,
Lots of times.
all the
A
time.
few times because I was awful at it.
I did it very few times as well.
You got to hit that jump at the very bottom.
Yeah. So the first boss we fight is the tree, who's a classic Kirby, like, staple. I think he's in every game, maybe, or in every 2D game.
Wispy Woods.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
a tree
Smash
that
Brother level
drops
too.
apples and blows air at you, and you gotta fight the air. I just ran through with the sword and slashed him real quick and got through it super fast.
That's pretty much, I feel like, the way a lot of people do
Yeah.
that. Just go up there because the sword is one of the abilities you get like at the very end of the level, right before it. But otherwise, if you don't have that, because one thing we haven't mentioned is if you have an ability on you and you get hit, that ability drops out of you, and the star, that ability, kind of is inside, goes away. Now you can chase that star down, suck it back up, eat it, and you'll get the ability back, but that star isn't on the screen for very long. And if you take any other ability, that star goes away entirely.
I literally remember screaming out like, "No, not my UFO or sword!" Like as I'm trying to like feverishly chase it down. Like the pain is real.
Yep, 50% of my gameplay was chasing the star after I got hit by doing something stupid.
Now, Trithan, you had mentioned that you thought, maybe it was three enemies you needed to suck in because 2 enemies would just give you your first ability. What you might have been thinking of is if you suck in a star, like an ability that was knocked out of you, and another enemy, it'll give you your star's ability back.
Maybe. That's possible.
Now, did you guys play any of the mini games?
Oh yeah, every chance I got, man.
You better believe
The I don't know what it's called, but where he's in a wrestling ring, like throwing eggs and bombs at you. There's no rhyme or reason for that to exist, but I loved it.
I just call it the egg throwing game.
It's great.
It's so good.
That one's fun, and the claw machine is really fun. Trying to get the big Kirby's.
Oh yeah.
Nah, give me Showdown.
Oh yeah,
I want the duel.
Someone let's talk about these mini games a bit, because I feel like they're iconic in and of themselves. Because even all the way up into the one of the recent Switch games, they still have those mini games in there.
Very
It's
true.
still there, and they're so good. They're so timeless, I feel like. So the egg game, the egg eating game. I'll talk about that one. I personally love that one. It's a little bit of a combination of reaction and luck, because you have King DDD up on a turnbuckle chucking eggs down at Kirby, and you have to hold hold A to hold Kirby's mouth open, and as long as his mouth is open, you're just holding A and eggs go in it, you get the points. But DDD will throw bombs out, and you have to let go of A really quick, so Kirby will close his mouth to let the bomb bounce off of him, but then hit it again really quick to get the next egg. And some of these timings are very tight timing.
They get real close.
Oh yeah.
But with all of these mini games, the reward is extra lives, because there's really not much else you can give someone in a game like this except for more lives.
So
And you're definitely going to be using them.
I was gonna ask, how many lives did you guys finish the game with, if you remember?
Oh, I don't remember.
Not many, because I gamed over a few times.
Really?
I went through a lot of continues, yeah, especially in the final boss.
I finished, I think, in the high teens for lives.
Nice.
I'm of this group. I am not that. I figured you guys would have been like, oh, I finished with like 75 lives. Like, yeah, it was so easy. So
I struggled a little bit with this one.
I think the problem was I made it through most of the game without going through any of my lives until later.
Yeah.
And then I just burned through them.
The later levels, it does get a lot more brutal with just it. The lag in the game is very real.
Yeah.
Once a lot of stuff gets on the screen, it does slow down. When emulating it, even on the Switch or on any kind of emulator, even on what people consider to be like the best emulator on PC, it still lags.
Yeah.
It still has major frame rate issues, and there's really nothing you can do about it. And the frame rate issues kill you.
So
literally.
I want to ask this question, but I want to jump back to the mini games because I took us off track with the live stuff. So I'm sorry, but
You're good.
I emulated this game, so I definitely had frame rate issues. Were frame rate issues in the original game then too, or not?
Probably. I mean, this was.
So did anyone actually play on original hardware, or has in the past?
I've played it on the Switch.
I've played it on original hardware a lot. I honestly thought I had the game, and I was going to hook up my Nintendo and play it on that. I didn't. But I do remember there was lag in it. Not near as much. The lag wasn't near as bad.
Interesting.
But there were slowdowns. This was one of the later games in the Nintendo lifespan. In fact, I think it was. Was this one of the last years they really released Nintendo games?
The way it looks very end of Nintendo.
It's very clean.
It's very clean looking game. When it's not lagging, it feels great.
It held up.
Yeah.
The art of it held up well on a 1080p screen, so that's impressive. But okay, I need to get us back on track of the mini games. My apologies, I took us way off course there. So we talked about the crane one. We talked about the draw one.
The Samurai Showdown is probably my favorite one.
Oh, we also did the draw one. What is the one I'm forgetting? There's 4, right?
There's the quick draw. There is the egg shooting game. The egg eating game. The crane game. And there's. I don't think. Is there others?
I
I
think
know
it's
there's a
just the three.
museum.
Or maybe I'm
Museum,
thinking
you
of the
go in, it's
museum.
just like
Yeah.
instant powers you can get.
Okay.
I
I thought
think
there was
that's
a
it.
fourth. And
I
museum
mean,
was
I
great.
considered it kind of a mini game where where Meta Knight comes in some of the levels, and he'll like summon his because that's something we need to mention. You're chasing Meta Knight the whole time through the game.
Oh, I guess
and
you
he's-
are.
And like he calls his goons, and they come in, and you have to beat all of them. And that shows up. I think is it in every level or after the first level? It's like every two. It's several times though, and they just like show up. It reminds me of the original Mario Brother, like in Luigi when you're in Super Mario Brothers 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where you have the different platforms and you have to meet them at different places and beat them. But it's just you fight in waves. Which is it's not really a mini game, but it felt like more like a mini game because it pops every once in a while. The arena, that's the other mini game.
And yeah, there you go, the arena. So the arena is where you can get a lot of the kind of more rare abilities from this that are earlier in the game. Like the arena in stage 2, you can fight like this polar bear,
The frosty guy.
What?
Frosty guy, yeah, and he gives you and if you eat him, then he'll give you an ice ability, which is a bit more rare early in the game here, and you can't get from one of the museums.
Is ice not
So-
freeze?
Well, freeze.
Yeah, it's freeze.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Wait. So I just want to make sure because freeze is just like he stands in place. It's almost like the static one. He just.
No, the one where you can freeze enemies and then kick them.
Oh yeah, that was a fun one. I forgot about that one. I don't think that's ice. Then that's freeze, right? Sorry, I'm all over the place.
Well, there's the
I think we
rock
were just
one where you go
saying
down,
ice.
Yeah.
where you stop, or you can land on stuff where it's just like you're just like a little brick.
There was an ice ability very similar to Spark. Like it just was, ice as opposed to electric, right? Mm-hmm. That was. I thought that was. Now I'm mixing up the names. I thought that was ice.
Now I'm getting.
I thought that one was ice, and I thought freeze was the one where you freeze them and then you kick them. Because I loved kicking those little punks all across the screen. It was a joy.
Oh, it was so fun. Just like as Triton's talking about with the suplex. But let's go through these abilities because there are a lot to cover. There are so many to cover, and I know we talked a brief bit about the beam. It shoots out this arc of just energy that it kind of like whip in front of you, just like a semicircle, just shoot out in front of you, and it's not great. It's there. I've honestly never used beam,
But it goes diagonal. That's what I really liked about it. It goes diagonal like above you and below you.
Yeah. Now, beam is required for a lot of the different secrets in the game. So a lot of the levels do have secret exits, endings, and that's how you unlock a lot of the mini games in each stage. Because the mini games they're kind of hidden. You don't get them just for free all the time. And the areas where you have like a bomb block that you have to hit above you, like you have to jump and hit a bomb block, jump with beam and use that, and that hits that above you, because otherwise if you try to jump at it with sword too much, or if you just like can't quite get up there with a different ability, beam's probably the way to go. And then we did talk about sword. Kirby just has a sword and he just slashes away.
MVP right there.
MVP. Sword is best weapon.
Sorry.
I feel like in the game.
I will die on this hill. UFO is the best ability he has. Bar none, will not accept any rebuttals.
That's more like a super ability though. Like they.
Oh, is it?
There's a couple. Yeah.
You got it pretty rarely.
Yeah, but like a normal. I think we're talking more than like normal abilities you get.
Then yeah, for me it was definitely like sword or cutter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The freeze. One thing I did like about the freeze or the icy. I can't remember which one it is, but you can ice skate across, so you move a little bit fast. I don't know if you move faster, but you look like it.
All right,
I think that's ice.
I'm gonna pull these
Okay.
up real quick. We're gonna cheat here. So, ice focuses on exhaling ice breath to deal damage. Enemies frozen by this breath will transform into ice blocks. So that is ice.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that has to mean that freeze. And I guess we had them backwards. Is freeze reduces
Is the one that's
Kirby's,
a lot more like Spark.
Yeah, reduces Kirby's traction after activation. It also prevents him from bouncing if he's airborne. It's able to freeze the surface of water in a later Kirby game as well. So we had them backwards, it sounds like.
Okay.
I don't think I actually even touched ice.
I definitely remember both of them, but yeah, freeze.
I know I
is the
used
one,
freeze.
Freeze is the one that's like spark, and I used those each like once, and I was like, never again. Those are going in the trash.
Yeah, spark was not my favorite.
No.
I was like, I took a lot
they're
more
really-
damage with spark than I did without spark.
Things like spark, I feel like, are a lot more useful whenever you're fighting a mini boss. Something that's going to do an attack and then stand there for a moment, because you pop spark next to them, you're just going to be hitting them over and over for a bunch of damage.
Definitely felt like I was sit there and be like, no, come hit me. Oh crap, you did.
Stop trying to hit me and hit me.
And then I'd like stop the attack, and then I'd take damage. I was like, this is a waste of my time.
I really like the Paracel. That's one of my favorite Kirby in every Kirby game. It's not particularly good. I just really like it because you have the little floatability, and just hitting people with an umbrella is always fun.
Very satisfying.
It also protects you as you're flying. So especially if you're any level where you have to go up, then having that parasol it's incredibly helpful.
So
laser's good.
I do have a
You get
list
to
up
shoot.
here. I can go alphabetical if we want, or not. It's entirely up to you guys. Because I had to cheat.
I prefer if it's by date.
I mean, there are a lot of
Are
abilities.
you
Some more throwaways.
by order of development?
You prefer us to go in the order that they were available in the game? You can leave, sir. You can leave right now.
God.
No, the order that the developers conceived them.
Oh, God.
Let me pull up ChatGPT for that one.
That might even be too much of a task for...
Okay, so I did forget one again. Looking at my cheat list here, Beam was fun. Beam was a really fun one.
I like Beam, especially because... or I'm sorry, not Beam, Laser.
Yeah.
I like Laser.
Wait, that's the same, right?
No, beam's the
No.
one you get. That's like the first ability you get.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's the one where it goes...
Yeah, Beam is the
and,
one
like,
we were
shoots
talking
this
about
arc
first.
of...
I'm talking about Laser.
Yeah.
My bad. The one that
Yeah.
bounces off angled
Yeah.
surfaces.
Yeah,
That was so
I
cool.
love that one. There's several little parts in the game that you use that ability in order to unlock one of those secrets. Because you'll have to use that beam or that laser, I should say, to knock off several angled parts, and your laser goes up, right, left, and it finally hits the bomb block that destroys all the other blocks around it.
Oh, that's cool. I knew nothing about secrets in this game. I was like, yeah, that would be useful if I wasn't in my UFO right now, but oh well, I'd move on.
Now, with the secrets in this game, did anyone take notice of the background of the levels? Because there are parts of many levels where you know what a door in the game looks like. Mm-hmm. But if you pay attention to the background, you might see more doors than the one you're supposed to go through. One of the earlier levels that we went through, there was a lot of like white arcs, like this vertical arcs on these various parts of the wall, and they were kind of like a half height of a door. But there was one of them that was the full height of a door, again all white. It blended in really well, but if you go in that, it takes you to a secret ending.
I don't think I did.
I literally have no idea what you're talking about right now.
I didn't do a lot of them. I did a few of the doors that, were kind of the obvious, like, oh, that's a secret area, but I didn't go like hunting through them.
Again, I went full Chaos Goblin. Start, end. There we go. I have
UFO
an A.
from point A to point B.
I have an A, I have a B. I'm getting there. That's it.
Those are pretty good. And then you have the other like the abilities that don't stay with you, like the mic, where it'll kill everything
The
on the
one-offs.
whole screen. Yeah, it'll kill everything on the screen. You have the whistle. Is that the whistle?
Well, you have the mic,
Which has 3 charges.
You have crash, which is where you pick up like one of those you suck up one of those bomb enemies. They kind of look like just they look like a cartoonish depiction of a nuke. It's like this thing just falls off the side, and if it lands on the ground, it will do a lot of damage to you. And I think it also kills all the enemies on the screen even if it drops. But if you eat it, then whenever you use it, it will kill every enemy on the screen. Just like Mike will deal a lot of damage. Like Mike will do a lot of damage to a mini boss. I think Crash straight up will kill them.
Okay.
Interesting.
Because it's only a one hit. It's a one-time use.
Yeah. And I think those are the only... Oh, there's also light, which light is... it has very limited use in the game. There are some levels where it has a very dark background, like the lights are off. You can still see the level itself because everything is... I mean, they still have an outline to it. You don't have to use light, but light is very helpful if you want to find some of those hidden places because you don't know where a door is if you can't see the door.
Yeah, some of them felt like they're like that ability, the light ability is like, we're like, oh, we're going to make a dark level, so I guess we'll just throw an ability in there. It seems like an afterthought.
What do you guys think was the most useless ability in the game?
Sleep.
Sleep.
Okay, I forgot about sleep. I walked into that one.
The other one is
excluding
the high
sleep.
jump. Since the high jump was really only useful for one level.
Oh, no, high jump is great.
Okay, for me it was useful for one level.
Yeah, I didn't use high jump outside of like that one level.
See, I was gonna
stone.
say, no,
I didn't really use stone at all.
I have a story about stone if you guys will entertain me, but to answer the question, needle. Like needle, I got mad every time I got needle. I was like, no, I don't even want this. Like, get out of here, garbage. Be gone from my body.
What does it do?
You just sit in place and you make spikes come out of your body. You don't do anything.
It's kind of like a more close range spark.
It's like a sea anemone.
It doesn't do anything.
Sea urchin.
Yeah, sea urchin, yeah.
But if you guys will entertain me for a second around stone, so I had no previous interaction with Kirby up until Smash Brothers on the 64. Like, I seen him in the game, just was like, oh, that's cool. He must have been like some background character in some Mario game that I didn't know about, and you know, that's neat that he's in here. Good for him. And I always play as Fox in Smash Brothers, and all Smash Brothers games, Fox is my dude. Fox, for those that don't know, has some fantastic like jumping like up A attacks.
Yeah, he's one of the most mobile characters.
Yes, which is why I love him. Kirby has an impervious move for his down B, I think it is, which is the stone move. Okay? So like I'd play against my friends and they would use Kirby against me because Kirby would kind of counter Fox and just constantly use stone attacks against me. It would make me so mad. And so the first time I had the ability in this game and I did it, I literally like paused the game, and it was like one of those scenes where like just 30 years of memories came like flashing before my eyes, and all the dots connected, and I was like, I can see all the secrets of the universe now. I was like, I have to walk away right now. Like, this is so upsetting that this is where this all came from, and I had no idea this even existed.
So you know, Kirby, like Smash Brothers was made by the people who made Kirby.
Well,
It's House Lab.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
So like that's why Kirby is the main character in a lot of the Smash Brothers, or specifically the Smash Brothers Ultimate,
yeah,
because it's made by House Lab.
and it fits thematically. I will give them at least that. It does fit thematically about it. Like, we're off topic, but like in that game, the world gets destroyed. Kirby escapes using the Star Rod, and then like saves the world. So it works. And I was like, hey, that's kind of cool. Now that I've played the original game, I have this backstory that I never knew existed for like 30 some odd years of my life. I just thought this was some background character in Smash Bros. They gave a bunch of abilities to, and I hated him for it.
That's fantastic.
So, one fun little fact about Kirby that a lot of people know if you follow retro games, it's a little fun trivia fact about Kirby is the namesake behind this little pink puff ball is Kirby. Last name Kirby was a lawyer that worked for Nintendo. That whenever they were going through a lawsuit with Donkey Kong, that he was able to defend them on it, and basically this was Nintendo's way of honoring him. Like, you did a huge thing for us. Like, Nintendo needed that win at that time, and this was I guess one of their ways of just like paying him back like a thank you. Like, we named this character after you, and
he's chubby and bald.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a win.
I could not be. There wouldn't be any higher honor.
I'd be like, really, you couldn't name Link after me? You're gonna give me this pink puffball that like swallows dudes and copies abilities? Like, come on, man! Like, I thought we were friends.
But no, that Kirby is just. he has become one of the Nintendo icons. I mean, you have whenever I think of Nintendo, I think of Mario, Link, Samus,
And
Kirby, Mega Man. Those are the 5 that come to mind right away.
Well, so when you're naming those characters, obviously you're naming the main characters in those series. So are you like excluding all the other characters from that series? Because I feel like I could name quite a few if we're, like you're gonna
classic Nintendo.
Like mascots. Like
Yeah.
if you hear Nintendo, what are the first characters you think of?
See,
which is why they're in the original Smash Brothers. It's like these are our staples that have built this empire.
It's the bread and butter.
See, for me, then it's Mario. Luigi's number 2, man, because Super Mario Brothers, like playing 2-player, and I'd have to be Luigi. Like my boy gets no love, and so
Green Mario.
No, he's taller, he's skinnier, he's more athletic, he's braver. He's just
you got the unplugged controller, didn't you?
No, I gave my sister the unplugged controller.
She just played Luigi by choice.
So going back to the powers, the other ones we really have are I'd call them the travel powers, which you have the UFO, you have the wheel.
Oh, that killed me more often than not.
Yeah, the wheel was not a good for
Just
me. In some of the
constantly
games,
wheeling
it's really
into the
good.
next enemy and then be like, oh, I'm going to do it again.
I love the wheel because you said it's a travel. If you find the right level you can just zoom across. Like there's some areas and levels that have just like a little 2-tile gap in like a platform, and wheel can just yeet itself across that. You don't have to stop. Just keep going.
Yeah, but I want to keep using the wheel after that level, and that won't let me. I die. I fall into a pit.
You have the tornado, which is, I guess it's supposed to be a decent power. I could never figure it out properly.
I loved it because for me, I got to embrace the chaos with tornado. I just mashed buttons, and wherever I ended up and whoever I killed in my path, so be it. It was great.
Yeah.
It does give Kirby kind of a layer of invincibility, and you go fast. If you are able to control the tornado in a way where you can just progress forward in a level or be able to raise and lower yourself at the right times, you can go through a level just as fast, if not faster, than you would with UFO.
Oh, I would say faster,
It's insane how fast it is.
And it multi-hits. Like, if you're fighting, there's certain, like, bosses or mini-bosses that it was really useful against, I remember. Because you could just, like... There's 1 or 2 bosses where, like, you're kind of, like, you're down on a slope and they're up on the slope, and tornado's just, like, ripe for that. You gotta, you gotta time when you come out of your tornado, though, because there is definitely a second or two of Kirby being vulnerable to getting hit and losing it. But if you can time, like you said, if you can control it enough to get in there, get, like, 5-6 hits in and get out, it was fun. It was probably the most fun power I had in the game. Like, UFO was great and I enjoyed it, but tornado was just fun.
It's just chaos.
Yeah, absolutely. I embrace the chaos.
Throw is incredibly fun as well.
Yeah.
I love throw because you could suck up an enemy, and instead of sucking like in and eating them, Kirby just grabs them and chucks them. Like, just turns them into a star and just throws them. And does it turn him into a single star, or does it turn him into one of the multi-stars?
I think it's the multi-star.
It goes through multiple blocks.
Yeah.
And with throw, you can angle it. So you can actually angle it like up, and it'll throw at an up angle, which is really cool, because I don't think there's any other are there many other abilities in the game that give you that let you attack at a diagonal?
Beam.
Well, you can't aim it at a diagonal.
But its arc it starts up diagonal and then finishes down diagonal.
Yeah.
I guess,
Yeah.
but I guess by that logic, then Spark and Ice do too, but they're like a 360 circle around you, so that's kind of cheating, I guess. But I don't remember throw. I remember suplex. Suplex was fun. Where do you get throw?
So I guess we haven't really talked about bosses yet, other than the first one.
The mini bosses.
Yeah, so like the mini boss, so we were talking about the Freezy guy, who's like kind of like a snowman bear. You have like the roly-poly guy who's a turtle, that's who you get throw from. Because when he just grabs you, like he rolls around, grabs you, and throws you. Once you beat him, you can get it to throw.
I spent so many lives on that boss.
So I just looked them up. So the the polar bear guy is Mr. Frosty.
Mr. Frosty.
So it's a bipedal walrus.
Oh.
And then,
Oddly
then we had
specific
the rolling
Nintendo.
turtle. And then rolling turtle is one that gives you throw. And we have seen Bonkers. He's the monkey that has a giant hammer. That's a fun one.
He's a staple.
Staple. Bugsy, just a big beetle, has big pincers, and he'll give you the backdrop ability. Backdrop's really fun.
Backdrop.
The suplex. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kirby just starts suplexing everyone around him.
And depending
There
on which
is-
directional button you hit when you have the enemy grabbed, you do different animations.
I didn't know that.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't want to go fire this game up again, but now I might have to.
Yeah, you do want to fire it up again because this is
You missed so
this
much.
is one of the best Kirby games of all time because it's where Kirby really started. I mean, there's Kirby's
Right.
Dream Land. Yeah, that was the first one, but this is the first Kirby.
The one
what
on
if-
Super Nintendo was still my favorite.
Yeah.
What
It's this, but better.
Yeah, it's just an improved version of this.
What about Fireball? I have a feeling this would be a polarizing, like a split among the group. What was your guys' take on Fireball as an ability?
Oh, I love Fireball. It was up there with one of my favorite.
Okay.
You can go through levels so quick with that. You
Oh,
just-
yeah.
It reminds me of Sonic 3. When you get the different shields, you had a fire
yeah.
shield like that. You could blast through things.
So I enjoyed Fireball for about 3 seconds every time I got it, and then I didn't really kill myself by going headfirst into a wall or something, or mistiming it and falling through a gap. It's like I can't use this because I just
Same. It killed me as much as it did Wheel.
I can't control myself on it. So it's like I got to stay away from this one. It's not good for me.
I hit it too early, and then I come
Yeah.
out of the fireball and then just smash into the enemy and lose it. And it's like, all right, that was fun.
So now we talked about mini bosses. I guess we should start talking about the actual bosses of the game that hold the star rods.
Yeah, so first we came across Wispy Woods. That was the boss of stage 1. And then after that was Paint Roller. Really weird boss. I really don't know what to think of Paint Roller. It's this weird being on roller skates. It goes to these 4 canvases in the corner of the arena. Will paint an enemy real quick, and that enemy will come alive and go at you. You can suck up the enemy and shoot back at the boss. But this boss will skate around and move around quite quickly, and you'll miss him a lot. And overall, I don't know.
I think the only real way to hit him...
Of all the bosses, I think he's my least favorite.
Yeah, he was not very memorable. I think he was the only boss you had to... I was not able to hit him without just like sucking in the projectiles he sent out. Maybe you guys beat him with something else, but that was the only way I could beat him was to just shoot his projectile that he painted out at me. Back at him.
I couldn't beat him with any abilities.
Yeah.
He just
He had
moves
no-
at you so fast,
no chill.
and he's unpredictable. You almost have to You have to learn how to dodge, wait for an enemy to get in front of you, eat it, and then shoot the star back. Which, like we said earlier, the stars do a ton of damage. The stars often do more damage than your abilities will.
Yeah.
Especially if you're able to suck in 2 stars, because a lot of these bosses, especially the mini bosses, if you don't have an ability, you can't suck them up. You have to wait for them to use one of their attacks, an attack that like slams the ground or slams the wall. And whenever that slam happens, they'll usually like 2 stars will pop out next to them, and that's when you can suck one up and shoot it back at the enemy and do all your damage.
Well, you could puff yourself up and get like a mini star, I guess.
The puff of air.
Yeah, but it wasn't like...
No, it didn't do much damage.
You weren't gonna rely on
one-shot at
that.
little enemies, but it didn't do much
Yeah.
with bosses.
Right.
This guy just reminded me of like the 7-Up or maybe the Sprite mascot from like the early 90s, the red dot,
Yeah, Spot.
Okay, well yeah, there you go. That was his name. So
He had his own game.
Yeah, I love this game.
this
2 games.
This boss was like the first one is so iconic. Like even I had recognized that boss, like even though I didn't know of this game. But like the second boss was like it was so like jarring to go from such a memorable boss to like
Who are you?
this thing
Yeah.
that just I've already forgotten about him.
Yeah. And then there's the stage 3 boss, Mr. Shine and Mr. Bright. That was another one that I was just like, well,
It was a cool mechanic. It wasn't like
you're fighting the sun and the moon.
Yeah.
They bounce back and forth. One of them's using an ability on you while the other one's attacking. I mean, it was a fun fight. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah, it brings me back to like the I know we keep talking about Superstar, but it's like the sun and moon in Superstar that would fight, and it was like, oh my god, I remember that. It was just kind of a nice little throwback. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna kill the sun and moon.
Totally. And then stage 4, we fight, in my opinion, as iconic as Wispy Woods, Krakow. Krakow is this big cloud that has all these spikes on him. He shoots out lightning as he goes across the screen, and he'll swoop down at you. And this is the one. He's the one where I think high jump is perfect.
Oh yeah, I think you have
Because-
I tried like several times to beat him without high jump, and then finally just like embraced like I guess I'll just use this power.
Yeah.
Yeah,
High jump is so good for that, because whenever you're jumping with it, you're invincible, and you just jump through him, and I think it does multiple hits as you jump through him at the right angle. You could take him out with high jump very quickly.
It's just all timing for that one.
Love his name. I don't have any beef with this guy.
And then we'll talk about the rest of them here in a little bit, but there's still a lot more to talk about. There's still abilities that we haven't touched on. I know we mentioned that Hammer does a ton of damage, and it's kind of like sword, a slower sword in a way. It swings in front of you, and if you jump and use it, then it'll spiral around you, like you do a somersault forward. And
Yeah, it's like Samus's what is that jump? A screw attack.
Screw attack.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I used this attack one time, just without any enemies around. Said nope, not for me. I'm not a fan of like slow, heavy attacks. Like even like if I'm playing like any game where I have an option of like a light attack or a heavy attack, like I default to light attacks. I value mobility.
I do that in most games too. I'll just go for the faster build, opposed to the heavy damage.
Once you learn heavy damage, you never go back.
I don't know.
I've tried it, but it's always just like I'll take the little less damage for the mobility.
What always ends up happening for me is I'm like, oh, like he's one like hit away from death, and I'll try to get that extra hit in, being greedy, and it kills me. So I need the mobility to get out of there.
Never be greedy.
Yeah.
this man needs to play Dark Souls.
Oh,
Never be greedy.
I thought we weren't allowed to talk. I've played them all, and that's why, like, that's where my value of mobility comes from.
Yeah. Another ability we have is Ball, which I used I think once the entire time.
That is such a weird
So
ability.
dumb.
You
I was
just
like,
bounce across as the little ball.
I was like, oh, I'm Samus, cool, but I don't get a gun. Boo.
I grabbed that ability and immediately chucked it behind me.
Yeah. I think I stood there and watched the star float away. Like, I'm not even gonna chase you. Like, be gone.
Be gone. But with Ball, you turn into a ball, and you bounce. You're a bouncy ball, and if you jump high enough, then as you fall, you deal a lot of damage to things. And if you keep bouncing, you can down some bosses really quick and easy. But you have to know how to control it properly. You have to know how to get that bounce, and if you don't, it's a trash ability. It's almost as useless as sleep if you don't know if you can't get it right.
Wait, sleep has more than just ruining you?
No, I said it's almost as useless.
Oh,
as
okay,
sleep.
sorry. I was like, wait, is there a secret for sleep that I don't know about?
You didn't
Don't
know
trip
this?
over that bar.
There's one frame in sleep about 2.5 seconds into when you're useless that can one hit any enemy in the game. Get good.
Yeah, didn't you know that?
Yeah.
Scrub.
And we mentioned UFO
Yeah.
a few times. UFO is such a fun ability, and I think the reason why everyone thinks it's the best ability is because, one, it makes you fast, but it gives you vertical fast progression. That's really the biggest thing in this game is you float. everything about Kirby floats. So anytime you jump in the air and have to, fly for even just a brief second, that's where so much of the slowness of Kirby, I feel like, really comes in. Is it's fast if you don't have to fly.
Yeah. But you
If you
can
fly,
fly
like,
over
if-
the
like, if you
entire
fly-
level most of the time.
Yeah,
There were a few
yeah,
levels where I
totally
did it.
can.
Oh yeah, I just liked UFO because you had. I mean, yes, all the things you said. Not going to pretend to have something more profound than that, but you had multiple attacks, which I liked. Like it wasn't just like most of the abilities in this game felt like it was you had like your standing attack and then like a jumping attack, but like UFO had like your flying attack, your standing attack, like a charge attack. There was like one more too, I think, and it combined like quite a few of the abilities that I liked. Like laser was one of them, beam was in there, and then there was like a charged up like horizontal laser that would go across the whole screen as well.
Yeah, it gave you the multiple stars that would shoot out.
Yeah, it's just the best ability. They should just make Kirby be permanent UFO in every game from here on out, and I think it'd be the best selling video game of all time.
You can make your own
This
Kirby.
man and
It's just
his
called
mobility.
UFO Kirby.
I mean, really, all you have to do is attach Kirby to the to a game, and it's instantly going to be a good seller. It's like in Super Nintendo, they're making a golf game, like a mini golf game. Like, mini golf game, and someone's like, Kirby mini golf, and everyone just like, oh my god, yes!
What if Kirby was the ball?
Kirby
Mario
Golf is really
missed
fun.
out a great opportunity to make Kirby the ball. Like that would have been a fun little mechanic in that game.
Oh, Kirby's Dream Course. We won't ever cover it because there's not much to cover with it, but I still recommend it. It's so fun.
Yeah.
It's golf with Kirby as the ball. Go play it.
It's I'm not going to get into it, but that is there. I can't think of any other game like it when it comes to something like golf, and the perspective of it and the level design. The closest would be Marble Madness.
Yeah, it's because the perspective in that game is very similar to Marble Madness.
Mm-hmm.
It's that was it
Isometric golf.
isometric 3D, 2D, 2.5D that Nintendo could render.
Mm-hmm. So thinking about all the levels, does everyone have like a favorite level of theirs?
Pirate
For
level.
me, pirate level.
Pirate level. I like the ship.
For
That's all I got.
I don't think any of them like were really memorable to me outside of like the names. Like Ice Cream Island just is a fantastic name, and Yogurt Yard made me laugh too. Like I don't know why, but
They're all
I was
desserts, aren't
butter
they?
building.
I don't think they are.
No, there's Vegetable Valley. I mean, unless you're my daughter and just really likes vegetables, and
They're kind of food
I guess
based.
they're just food based.
Ice Cream Island, Butter Building, Grape Garden, Yogurt Yard, Orange Ocean, Rainbow Resort, and Fountain of Dreams.
Yeah, they're all like food
which
based.
they're all very dreamlandish because this is a land. They eat and sleep. That's all they do.
That's true.
It's like a bunch of cats, except somehow more adorable.
My kind of land.
Like I don't know. Kirby is just he's squishy and you just want to give him a hug.
Yeah. I like Vegetable Valley just because I think it might be in every Kirby game. And it's just like, it's a nice welcome to Kirby's Dreamland.
Well, yeah,
before it
then
starts
you
getting
get up to the
darker and more like, oh, things aren't looking so good.
because then you get to like you're in like the forest and
Mm-hmm.
you get the little huts and whatnot, which is kind of neat.
I feel like the game has, and a lot of Nintendo games have this, is the levels feel like they're also a progression of seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Like you start out with Vegetable Valley, it's very spring-like, everything is fresh, very cheery, and then you work into more of the summer, the Butter Building, Grape Garden, Yogurt Yard, and then we're into the fall, which is Orange Ocean, and then you get into the holidays, Rainbow Resort, and then just everything falls apart at the end because the holidays are crazy. Fountain of Dreams, where we fight, Nightmare.
Yeah.
So it follows Midwest weather patterns.
Yeah.
Fair.
You're not wrong.
You go from ice to mountains to lava.
All in one day.
True.
Yeah. On a weekend.
Yeah, I didn't really have any. None of the levels really for this game were like, oh, this is incredible or memorable like some of the other old Nintendo games. It was just kind of very, it progressed well, so it just felt natural for this game. Unless anybody else had any levels they were particularly like, other than Pirate.
For me, it was the level that they did all in black and white.
Oh, yeah.
That was straight up a throwback to Kirby's Dream Land.
Mm-hmm.
Even the UI was black and white. Like, they took everything about that level and just was like, here is our homage to where we came from. Because, like I said, this game is the first Kirby. There's Kirby's Dream Land, but this is Kirby.
Yeah. Because that was Game Boy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because they started out on Game Boy.
Yep, because I owned the Game Boy one, and that was my start to Kirby. I actually didn't have Adventure until way later when emulators were a thing. So I pretty much went from the first Kirby to Superstar. No in between.
And Kirby got the Garfield treatment, where the first Kirby game, he was very round and big and bulky, and then he got like slimmed down and cuter when this game came out.
Well, it depends. Is it the Japanese artwork or the American artwork? Because they both have different eyebrows.
Kirby has eyebrows?
Well, they get different... One's an angry Kirby and one's a happy Kirby, usually. We got different artwork. They didn't think we would like Mad Kirby.
I like Happy Kirby. But aside from levels, boss fights. We talked about some of the other bosses. We fought Heavy Mole at one point. It kind of looked like a treasure chest with these arms that would come out and knock away like blocks of the arena, and it would just continually progress off to the right, go up and down. And if you fell behind, then you could fall into you would fall off the edge of the screen, which would kill you, or you would get pushed off the edge of the screen by part of the terrain because you couldn't get over it or under it in time, and that would kill you. Overall, he wasn't really that bad.
No, he was pretty easy.
Oh yeah, but if you got good RNG.
Yeah, I have seen runs where, like speed runs in this, where they get upset because like the RNG he's not going in the right pattern. You can't follow him to suck up whatever he's shooting out and shoot back at him.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he did that constantly to me. I hated this boss.
It sensed your speed run. It sensed your intent.
I didn't.
Personally, I would rather fight that over Paint Roller. I just hate Paint Roller with a passion.
Yeah. Paint Roller has definitely no chill.
What about?
However, the next one after Heavy Mole, Meta Knight.
Best fight of the game.
This
my favorite as a child.
Best fight.
His art is so cool.
You go in and it's just there's a sword in the middle of the room, and you see him up on the corner. It reminds me of Zelda 2, like the final fight in that, where you have like the little wizard up on the corner of the level and you walk in. It's kind of reminds me of that, like I have the high ground. But overall, the fight, Kirby against Meta Knight. Meta Knight is a black Kirby that has like this knight mask on. He's just all black, has a cape, has basically a helmet on, and wields only a sword. And he's one of DDD's. Is he like a general or something? Like he's like the top guy of DDD's army.
How did your fight go, Overcycle?
So, again, I have a story, and I'm sorry. My first experience with Meta Knight was in Super Smash Brothers Brawl. Okay, so I just assumed this was some sort of like powered up form of Kirby. Like, cause it's very obvious, like you don't have to know anything about the games like me to be like, oh, they're very obviously from the same universe of games, right? Like big round ball. So I assume this was like his Power Rangers transformation or something. So I get into this game and I'm like, oh wait, that's Meta Knight. Like I know that dude. I know that guy. And so then I'm like, all right, so what's like gonna be the Nintendo like Japanese game developer like twist here? Is it gonna be like Kirby's brother or like his his long lost dad or whatever? But then I just go through the whole thing and it's like, nah, this is just another guy that looks like Kirby who happens to have a flaming sword and a cape, which is not fair to Kirby. But the fight was, to answer your question, largely like I was so stoked to finally fight him because I felt like for the entire game they like tease Meta Knight on you, right? Like he shows up and you're like, oh yeah, I finally get to fight him. It's like, nope, here's like 18 cronies and you like eat them and shoot them back at each other and win the fight, and then Meta Knight's nowhere to be found. So like the fight to me was just another boss battle, but like the build up and the anticipation and then like the knowledge that I had of it to me was the journey for this game for me. Like the fight was, the fight didn't like do anything for me, I guess. I'm sorry to like rain on everyone's parade right now.
Oh no, I just wanted to know if it was like
it's-
hard or if it was like just another fight for you. But
So all of the fights like in this game, I felt like I would go in the first time with whatever power I had, would probably die, and then I'd be like, oh, okay, I probably need to use this ability for it, and I would try to go like find that for that boss battle, because I thought originally it would be whatever the copy ability would be right before the boss, like Nintendo doing us a solid rookie mistake.
This is old Nintendo. They didn't cater to you.
Yeah, so by like the second or third time I fought a boss, I could usually take him down. I would by that point figure out like what copy ability I wanted to bring into that fight. But I don't remember which one I brought for Meta Knight.
You don't, because you have to use the sword.
I was gonna say I feel like I did sword, but
that is one of the reasons I think that Meta Knight is such a fun fight. Is one, sword's my favorite weapon in the game, so anytime I get to use it, is but you have to use it. Even when you get hit by him, you don't lose it. It's like,
right.
This is, you are dueling Meta Knight. This is how you have to fight him, and it's a lot more difficult than the other bosses, because you are forced to get right up in his face, and he's just as fast as you are. Which, I mean, you're not that fast, which might make him faster.
And there's no like blocking, there's no like dodge rolls.
No.
You're just kind of wailing
No,
on
not
each
at
other
all.
with sticks.
The best fight.
But it was super cool, like the build up to it. I thought it was really well like done through a game where there's like no, I even think in the beginning, right? There's no like dialogue, or no, not dialogue, like no text prompts to like explain the story, right?
not really.
None. That's why they had instruction booklets.
Right.
Yep.
So that's what I'm saying. Like even when you're talking about the beginning of the story, like, you know, dreaming and they don't dream and like what's going on. There's no like text prompts to take you through it to like explain to you what's going on.
No,
Right.
You just vaguely watch it, a couple like little clips, and then you're like, all right.
But that's what I'm saying. Like
I
that's
extrapolated the entire story from that.
right. That's, you know, credit to like Nintendo storytelling here. Like even though there's no like, aha, I am Meta Knight, I am here to defeat you, and you're like, no, I'm Kirby, I'm the good guy. Like you're still like, I'm gonna smash this dude because like he's been here all day, like wrecking my parade.
They build
Yeah.
that tension on
It's
you.
But was
Great.
Meta Knight a bad guy?
Yes,
He's
I
just
mean,
misunderstood.
he's throwing
I
you,
can change him.
sir.
He's throwing you lollipops throughout the entire game.
Sir, he has a cape.
Spicy lollipops.
He has
Yeah.
a cape. By rule, he is a bad guy.
Cape and a sword.
Press.
And an evil mask. It doesn't have happy eyebrows.
He's not handing you a soda pop and saying, let's have a picnic. He's like, I'm going to make a Kirby sickle right now. And
He's handing you a sword and saying, "Let's."
right.
Maybe he was just
Let's
testing
fight.
you. Were you worthy?
I was really disappointed, though. I was really disappointed there wasn't like a copy ability for Meta Knight. I thought that would have been so funny to get like all the way to this big fight, you know? And you just immediately like swallow him and copy him and then the fight's over.
Yeah.
I thought that would have been such a great like flip of the script.
So the last stages that we do have to go through are grueling. We have to go through Rainbow Resort, which involved in Rainbow Resort is a mini boss rush level. That is a hard level, just because I think it is all the mini bosses that you have to fight, and it's like every 3 or 4 you have a bit of a reprieve where you can get a max tomato, and I think maybe an ability, but overall it's just back to back to back, mini boss fights, and they can be tough.
And hard platforming level through the whole thing too.
Yes, they definitely ramp up everything to where really all that you've learned up to this point comes into play, and they're still throwing new stuff at you. there's parts in one of the levels that the background has like these stars that are shooting either up or down, and it'll launch Kirby in that direction. So if you're really low to the ground and you jump into one of those areas that has the stars pointing down, Kirby's going to get just thrown down into the pit.
I died so many times in that.
Same.
It was just because the first like 2 times I went through, I was like, am I just like messing up the controls? And then I realized, oh no, the game is pushing me down or throwing me up. And then I would just like get it all thrown off and then just get wrecked by whatever was on the screen or fall off the, get pushed down into death.
Yep, you lose your powers. You're like, darn it.
Speaking of levels, you know which level we didn't talk about? And I'm kind of surprised. It shows up a few times, I believe, but like the one where you're on a platform and it spins. And like there's actual like inertia to it, and like it impacts.
Oh, the
like,
tower climb.
Yeah.
Like
I think that's in Butter Building.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was like for a Nintendo game. I thought that was so cool. Like it's such a nice little break from just going left to right on a screen, you know. So I really enjoyed that section of the game for some reason. Like there's nothing really memorable about it other than it's just different. But I thought it was really cool for a game like this to have something like that.
It kind of reminds me of Battletoads.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
It did seem like they were either paying homage to certain games or testing out stuff in a lot of these levels, because none of them are that similar. They all have some kind of
They're very
gimmick.
disjointed.
Yeah. But it is a dream world, so...
Yeah. Dreamland.
The Dreamland, yeah.
Ah. But after we do fight everyone, we the very last piece of the Star Rod we need to get back is from King DDD, and we are fighting right in front of the Fountain of Dreams for this. And King DDD was the boss of Kirby's Dreamland. He's back for this one. Who wants to give me the skinny on this guy? Because he's just... Is he a penguin? Is he a... What is he?
I think he's just a bird.
I don't
Just
think
a
anybody
generic-
knows.
Dreamland bird.
Bird
He's a DDD.
frog thing.
A DDD. Wait, is he from Dreamland, though?
Yeah.
That's...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
'Cause
so
he's
he's
the
not
boss
necessarily
from the
a...
original game.
He's not necessarily a bad guy, because they talk about it afterwards as that he broke the Star Rod to pieces because he was trying to save Dreamland. And after you beat DDD, this was like the boss appears that like was corrupting Dreamland.
Nightmare.
The Nightmare, yeah. So like DDD had broken the rod to stave off the Nightmare because he didn't know how to like beat it.
Oh.
Wait, hold on. I picked up on something from a Nintendo game that Alamaxia didn't. I can die happy.
I honestly hadn't really thought of it that way.
Yeah, so he's not.
I always just played this game as I'm Kirby. I'm just gonna kill everything, eating them.
No,
Kirby.
What happened is the reason why all of the bad guys are in the game is because they can't dream, and so they all get cranky and hungry because most of their dreams are about food, and then the food appears and they eat it and they're happy.
Okay, I didn't get that far into the plot. I just realized
I went down a rabbit hole, and so King DDD, to keep the nightmares from, because when they're going to sleep they're having nightmares, and so he broke the Star Rod into 7 pieces, gave it to his trusted minions, and they were supposed to protect it to keep the nightmare from coming out, because if you can't dream you can't have nightmares.
That makes a lot of sense.
It does.
And so yeah, after you put it back together, he like grabs you and he sucks you up and he throws you after the Nightmare King, or whatever it is. What's called the Nightmare King?
Yeah, it looks like he's begging you. He's like,
Yeah.
no, don't don't do this, no. Kirby puts the rod back where it belongs, and out pops this evil orb.
Kirby
Yeah, and
has
so-
I'm the main character syndrome more than anyone.
You have the two phase boss fight. One, you're just shooting an orb through space with a Star Rod, because you put it together and you get it, and then King DD launches you into space after this orb. That part's pretty easy and simple.
Easy and simple. No, I couldn't get enough hits on it, and it's a
No.
timed event.
It is
I
a
thought
timed
it was-
event.
If you don't beat it in a certain time, you just die. That's it.
Does it look like an old man with a really long, like crooked nose to anyone else, or is that
Yeah.
just me?
Yes.
He's like a gargoyle.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah. He's He's kind of like if Dracula and Jay Leno had a kid.
Draculino. So when you're fighting him, he doesn't have any. He's not vulnerable most of the time. He has like a cape hiding his essence. And when he opens it up, you got to hit him with the star rod. For this fight, I didn't know you could shoot the star rod for the first like 6 attempts I had. And so I was just trying to do the spin attack with him, and I almost beat him like 3 times.
Star Rod is sword.
See,
Yeah.
Again, I didn't realize how much of like Super Smash Brothers like gameplay was from Kirby. Because like I picked up the Star Rod, I'm like, that's the thing from and I can shoot stars
from the thumb.
And then when I saw King Dedede for the first, I was like, yeah, he's from this game too. Like, oh my god, this is amazing. And then I moved
all
on with
came
my
together.
life. Yeah, it was like 37 years on this planet for this one defining moment.
Yeah.
And it's so wonderful that you were able to be there for it, because we are through the game and Kirby yeets the Star Rod off in the distance and lands perfectly on the Fountain of Dreams, which returns the dreams to everyone in Dreamland. Yay, bye Kirby.
Yeah, he just yeets off on the star.
Wait, hold on. I specifically remember a second phase to this fight where you're like in a bullet hell segment.
That was the first phase.
Yep.
Oh, I thought the cape was the first phase.
No, that was the second phase.
No.
The ball's
Oh,
the
okay.
first phase.
Okay.
Yeah, you're chasing him down after he leaves the Fountain of Dreams. It's kind of like as that orb of energy, and he's trying to escape, and that's when DDD sucks you up and shoots you off into space. So you're flying after it, and you hit it enough to where you knock him out of that ball of energy. And then Kirby's the terrain. It looks like he's just kind of sliding across the surface of the planet. Like the background of the level is just flying by to the left. Kirby's just like standing still, and this level's flying by. The ground just.
But you talk about a hard pivot in a game. We went from a platformer to like a bullet hell game for 3 minutes. Like just threw that in there. Why not?
That's what most of the game is, though.
Why
It's just
not?
like, here's an idea, use it, go. It doesn't matter, just do it.
Yep.
Yeah. And they did it so well, I feel like. So that is the end of Kirby's Adventure. Not that long of a game, but this is one that my personal memories of this, I played it with my cousins growing up. They had it, and we would just hand the controller off back and forth on levels. And at one point, we were even like, it was before speedruns were a thing, but we were basically like, can we get through the whole thing like 100% in one day? I mean, we're, God, whatever. I was like maybe 8 or 9 years old at the time. So, not quite a seasoned gamer yet, but going through and knowing, hey, I got to suck up 2 enemies to get a hammer because I have to hit this wooden peg in the next screen in order to unlock a secret. It was fun, and if you do get all of the secrets in the game, you get kind of like an extra game, like a new game plus, where it's harder. Kirby takes a lot more damage. I think you have fewer lives even to start out.
That's what the game needs to be, to be harder.
Yes, and if you beat that, then you get a sound test, which I think that was a thing that a lot of games had, is like their big end secret thing back then is you get the sound test where you can go through each of the sound bites. Each of the sound bits they use in the game to like, I want to listen to sound 1, sound 2, sound 3. And it's fun to go through and be able to like listen to each individual one.
Yeah, that was a payoff. I think Sonic did that a lot too.
Yeah, that was like you had to hold a certain button, and then you got like a chime at the start menu or the starting animation. I vaguely remember stuff.
It's like up, down, left, right, and that gave you something, and up, right, down, left. Ah, so good. So, last thoughts on Kirby's Dream Land. Who wants to start?
I'll start. So for me, I never played this game until we did it for the podcast. I played the original on a Game Boy, and then I played the one on Super Nintendo, and those were my main Kirby experiences. I've played most Kirby games since then, but this is one I never played. And outside of lag, I thought it was really fun. It was cool and interesting, and yeah, it was a good game.
Trython, let's hear it.
So as I said before, I played the first one on Game Boy. I played the heck out of that one. And then I played Kirby Superstar with my brother a lot when I got older and we got a Super Nintendo. But I never really got to play that game until later on, and when emulators came out and I was able to play it. So it was kind of fun to go back and actually beat the game and see Meta Knight. And, be like, this is like the very first appearance of Meta Knight, and kind of how everything from Super related back to this game. So it was fun to see all the callbacks and call forwards.
Foreshadowings.
But it's same as Huck, outside of the lag, it's an okay game. I mean, it's Kirby.
It's Kirby.
The essence of Kirby. All right, Recycle Bin, let's hear it.
Oh man, so it was really cool. I've told many of these stories already, seeing all the things that connected to when I started coming into gaming. But I compared this game so much to Mega Man because there's obviously similarities here, and this game, I don't know, it just didn't click with me. It's not a bad game. Everyone should play it and check it out, especially if you're a Nintendo fanatic. You need to. But this is a game that I'm gonna put on the shelf and say I beat, and I'm never gonna come back to, and I'm not gonna miss it. But and I'm not saying that as because it's a bad game or anything. It didn't click with me. I could see myself firing up Mega Man again and wasting some time on it, but Kirby just didn't have that for me. I don't know why. I can't put my finger on it. It's nothing I wish it was something glaring where I'd be like, that's why I didn't like this game. But there was just
try going back to it and trying to find the secrets. Because finding the secrets and getting the secrets, I feel like, at least for me, was a big part of the fun in it. Some of the secrets are not that easy to get or not that easy to find. So there is a certain, there's a certain level of exploration you have to do, trial and error.
Or go play Superstar, the better version of this game.
And that's fair. But I'm also not, I'm not a completionist. I start up a game, I will play a game, and by when I get to the 90% mark in a game, it's obvious when a game's hitting it's it's wrapping up points. I'm I just want to finish. I'm just ready to be done with this game, on to the next one. And
yeah,
I kind of I don't know, I feel I feel like a bad person right now because I'm dumping on this game, which is obviously a treasured game. No. But it's just
you're not dumping on it. That's the thing.
It's one that I won't play again. I'm glad I did, but it's a game where if someone was to ask me about have you played it? No. Do it, but then move on with your life.
It's like puberty.
Once you get through it,
move on with your life.
Yeah, once you get through it, don't go back.
What are you talking about, guys? I'm sorry, sir. We don't serve tacos here. But anyway, that's Kirby's Adventure. We all gave our little, retrospective on it. We all love it, except for Recycle Bin, who I think he enjoyed it enough.
I'm just a sour Sally, I guess. I'm sorry.
You enjoyed it enough.
I did. Again,
there was enjoyment.
Yeah, there was moments that I enjoyed it, and connecting the dots. But I don't have any interest in exploring the Kirby franchise in and of itself anymore. The Mega Man franchise, yes, but not so much Kirby. I don't know.
Oh, just wait until we get to Superstar. You'll love it.
Maybe a Meta Knight action or an ARPG I could get behind, but I don't know.
Get working
it's
on
all
it,
about
Nintendo.
Meta Knight.
Get working on it.
Get working on that. So next game we're going to play, we're going from a happy, fun little place of dreams where we're just trying to save the world to we're going to escape a Nazi prison.
Bum, bum, bum.
Mein Leben.
Shoot him in the face.
We are going back to the original first-person shooter, Wolfenstein 3D.
Nice.
This is I remember playing the demo of this several times as a kid, and the only thing I could ever think of with this game is how much I wanted to just instead watch the maze screensaver from Windows 95.
I am
it just reminds me of that so much because just a flat 2D area, and you go around the corners and maze, and it's like I'm just going to put my right hand on the wall and try to find my way through the level.
I'm so
I
excited.
was a Pipes enjoyer.
Yes, Pipes was the one to go for. I'm so excited about this game because this is actually the first game that we have done that I have played previously, and like I have legitimate experience with. Like Mega Man, I had tried for like all of 10 minutes as a kid, but this is a game where like I unlocked like 30-year-old core memories replaying it. I'm so stoked.
Well, good. You can be the expert, and I won't know anything because I've never played it.
I wouldn't go that far with me, but I will do my best.
I haven't played it either. I've seen
Same.
it been played, but I haven't like seen it from start to finish.
Mm-hmm.
I am entirely blind on the game, other than I know that, you know, there is a mechanical Hitler at some point. That's all I know. That's all I know.
Spoiler alert.
So,
Mecha Hitler.
Mecha Hitler. But so far of what I've played of it, I'm enjoying it. I'm definitely looking forward to recording this next one, and I hope everyone here is looking forward to listening to this next one with us.
It's going to be a fun one.
So that wraps up this episode of yet another retro podcast. We thank everyone for listening. Be sure to give us a follow on Spotify or on YouTube, or we're also on Amazon Play. So give us a follow, give us a listen, let us know what you think. You can reach out to us at yetanotherretropodcast@gmail.com. If you have any feedback or anything you want to bring up, if you have any games that you want to request, reach out. And so, for yet another retro podcast, I'm Alamaxia.
I'm Trython.
I'm Recycle Bin Hero.
And I'm Huckleberry Slim.
We'll see you next month with Wolfenstein 3D. Bye!
Bye.
Bye.
Brr.